What is up, guys? Zan here with AntCap from Playbook.gg, and welcome back to another Friday Film Study Squads edition. Before we dive into this video, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss any of the great tutorials that we've got headed your way here on the Playbook.gg YouTube channel. Okay, guys, welcome back. AntCap, what's going on? Welcome back to another Friday Film Study.
Thanks, Zed. I'm doing great. I'm really excited about this one. It's a little bit different than we've done in the past, as we hosted our Friday Night Football with Squads Edition, and we're going to go ahead and talk about it a little bit through this video.
So this matchup that we're watching is actually a matchup between, you've got some people that the community are pretty familiar with. You got some competitive guys on one side, and then you've got Chewbacca on the other side. And we're heading into the second half here. This is a matchup between J-Wall's team and Chewie's team. And at the half, Chewie's team has a 10-7 lead.
Yeah, if you watch this tournament or want to go back on Twitch to go ahead and watch that video, it's been a great tournament where we invited not only pros, but also community members to really introduce the squads element of this and really kind of test a format that we had a lot of fun with.
Yeah, I wasn't really sure what to expect. I was commentating this with Stiff down there at the Curse Studio there in Huntsville. And, this seemed to be a lot of fun. The chat was super engaged, and we saw a completely different defensive strategy meta. I mean, you're watching J-Wall's team here. 3 users on the field, and this was a lot of fun to watch, just how differently teams played when you have 2 teammates helping not only on offense, but on defense as well.
Absolutely. I had a lot of fun watching it myself. I'm not a squads player, but watching this tournament, you really got to see a little bit of different styles. You'll see here with J-Wall's team, they use the 2 outside cornerbacks a lot in Cloud Flats, basically to cover the outsides of the field, while they had a middle of the field user kind of go all the way up the field. And it kind of was something that they had to do adjustments back and forth, but it was really a nice style type of adjustments that you saw, because it's just a different type of meta and ways to it, just to attack 3 different players on the field with 3 users.
The thing that I noticed, and we even joked about it on the broadcast, is there were actually games during this tournament where you would have more punts than points scored. And that is such a, in my opinion, that's a breath of fresh air for competitive Madden. You're so used to seeing scores. I mean, we've seen Joe Rice play games that are like 52-49 in Friday Night Football. And then you see these really awesome games that are going down to the wire, 10-7 here in the second half. You see right there, Vic, only his 3rd pass attempt. So you see how stingy the defenses truly are in this mode.
Yes, I think when you look at it, it looks a little freestyle, but I know that there's a lot of communication behind the closed doors while they're playing each other on different things. You saw that last play. It was 2 plays in a row that kind of stood out to me. The first one was they went over the middle with a post pattern, and you saw that J-Wall was the middle of the field user, and they almost got behind him. So what they ended up doing was they changed their type of coverage to where J-Wall went all the way back, and then the person that's under the Dark Vader's gamer tag actually played the middle. And what you're going to see a lot is, even though it looks like there's a lot of freestyle going, they are communicating what part of the field that they want to cover each, and then they basically have a big radius. So keeping the scores down is actually something that happens a lot more, because it's just so hard to find those open holes in the defense.
You definitely mentioned the communication. That would be something that if we were to do these events in the future, I would love to start getting in, kind of do like a NASCAR pit crew style. Like if you guys have ever watched NASCAR, you ever get to listen into the pit crew talking to the driver, just the teamwork that goes in with making pit decisions and whether or not they should come in from the track. And, I would love to be able to hear what these guys are saying pre-snap, especially on some of these bigger plays. Like you see right here, nice run by Derrick Henry with that double spin move and then a little 1 cut back to the outside. Hopefully that is some logistics that we could definitely work out in the future. But, for right now, we didn't actually get to hear these guys, but you can only imagine what they were saying. We actually did hear some sound bites. I think one of the funnier ones was Strafen. When they got beat by J-Wall's team in the first half, J-Wall's team put on a clinic against them, and Strafen was kidding, of course, when he said this, but he said that he had more fun going to church than playing against J-Wall's team. Really, really cracked me up when he said that. But I would love to get these guys mic'd up for these events, maybe listen into their Discords while they're playing this.
Yeah, I think that would be a great element to just from a production standpoint, but also, I mean, Squads, to my opinion, is something that can be competitive, but also very, very fun. I mean, Madden sometimes can be a little bit frustrating in the way that the results happen, animations, the trigger ways and whatnot. But when you get a co-op type of experience, the fun behind that really comes out, and you can see that these guys are have to work as a team, have to work together. They're not just relying on computer players to do the job; they're doing it themselves. And I just think that the teamwork behind that really adds something to the game, and you're going to see that as we break down this game, kind of how they work as a cohesive unit.
So now we got 3rd down and 5 here. They can pick up a 1st down without picking up a touchdown right here. Very, very tough sledding down here in this area of the field. And the other thing you're going to notice is that these games go so much more quickly than regular head-to-head goes, because reading the field with 3 users is so tough. As you see, Vic here bounces off a hit stick. Oh, okay. One of the plays of the game there for Team J-Walls, they go up in front after that huge touchdown run.
Yeah, you could see what they did there was they played all-out coverage. You didn't really send any heat. They did have a little bit more time to, kind of survey the field, and he picked his moment to run with his quarterback. And you did mention that the time clock does go a lot more. A lot of that has to do with, running the ball a little bit more punting while the play clock's still going and the game clock still goes. I think it's just a different element of, strategy type football. You're going to see in some of the other games in this Friday Night Football tournament where people were using the field advantage as far as punting and pinning them deep to know that they can play good defense. Something you don't see in Madden very often, where 4th and 17 from your own 10 is something that you see all the time people go for. That's not the case in squads.
I believe you're referring to a 1st-round matchup that we watched in Friday Night Football. In fact, Matster Gamer's team came out trying to play. You could kind of tell which teams had worked together and which teams maybe had been just playing for the first time, because you saw some of these teams really throwing caution to the wind and going for it on 4th down and 7. Way different with 3 users on the field when you know that you can't just chuck a corner route, and you also can't have a post and a drag. So we saw Matster's team literally give the game away in the first half before they really caught on to, wow, field position matters. And then they locked up in the second half, but it was just too little too late. So we definitely saw some of the competitive players. You would expect competitive players just come in and dominate here, but kind of learning, there's a lot of people out there that have been playing squads, and chemistry really matters in this mode.
Yeah, you can kind of throw away your money plays per se, where that the computerized defense is going to, basically react a certain way when you put 3 users on the field. There's just such a big element of, variation to what you can do in that type of regard. And I think you'll see the ability to hit those route combinations that you're going to do on a one-on-one type standpoint does not equate here very well. So, using your ability to, pin them deep, to be able to play defense, live another possession is really big. You don't want to lose the game doing something, foolish on offense. And that's just a different strategy in squads.
The other thing that is important to remember is we definitely heard the community loud and clear. There is a big-time squads contingent out there. In fact, we saw Team Suspect, DNA Suspect, the 49ers Club Series winner. He recruited 2 of the better squads players in Brinks IQ and Brominator. 2 guys that, from a competitive standpoint, solo head-to-head Madden, I personally had not heard of. But after watching those guys play squads, I realized just how deep this mode and how different this mode is and how much they get it compared to some of the guys that just play this mode for fun occasionally. So that was really eye-opening to me. I don't know what you saw, but it was really awesome to watch that team go to work as well.
Absolutely. I think there's a different type of skill level, especially at the quarterback position, when there's 3 guys that are, running around the field. Where do you want to attack them? Do you want to attack them to, the solo side to where there's only 1 user? Do you want to go over the top in the middle? The ones that get it and have had all those type of practice moments and have grinded this mode are definitely going to be, a little bit more tried and true in this mode. Just because you're a pro player on one-on-one does not give you that same experience you would here, in knowing how to manage the game. It's a different game. We're playing the same John Madden football, but when you change up those variables, there's definitely a different type of strategy that was definitely something that came out during our tournament.
The other thing is you can see some of the competitive players. I mean, even here with Team JWall, I mean, a very, very good team here. There's things about the squads mode that you didn't even see utilized by some of the pro players. For instance, directional shading. You know, there's different press mechanics. There's different release animations. We saw guys like Brominator using flat routes to make sure that they were unbumpable. Things that you kind of take for granted as a competitive player because you don't run routes when you're playing head-to-head Madden. And, you know, that was definitely something that I noticed as well.
Yeah, I think to that point as well, just knowing which players to line up with on the offensive side of the ball. Some people are using offensive alignment. Sometimes they were doing motions and then they would click off to a different player in order to get players in certain positions. I think there's a little bit more to this mode than you know, a lot of people would see to the eye when you first watch it. You know, there's a lot of strategy that goes into it on both sides of the ball, and you can see the ones that have been playing it. They were playing at a higher level from an intelligence standpoint of what you can and cannot do in the mode. And it kind of showed, you know, when they were the team captains that went ahead and selected their players, the ones that had the most success reached down into that squad's community to really get, you know, that type of leadership on their team to really direct them in the right way.
We talked about how different the meta can be in just strategy and game management. I mean, that's not to say that that last decision to take 3 and go down by 1 isn't something you'll see in competitive Madden, but typically it's a rare breed of player that knows they have an amazing defense. Defense is very, very tough in Madden one-on-one. Like you said, we're relying on 10 AI defenders. We have only 1 user. But you see right there, Team Chewy, completely content knowing how this game plays with 3 users, take their 3, only down by 1, and now there's a ton of pressure on Team JWall.
Absolutely. And from a defensive standpoint right now, the way the game is going to be going, there's a better chance that they hold them on this first drive without getting a first down and get the ball, you know, at a decent field position. That's why, you know, taking that ability to get that 3 is huge, because scoring touchdowns in this mode were definitely a taller task. If you think one-on-one in the red zone's tough, you know, if you put 3 users in the red zone, it's even that much tougher to get, you know, those guys open, those high points, and whatever the case may be. So playing for 3 for the win is definitely something that you know, people are taking that into consideration as they manage the game.
That's a great point. I mean, you think about how hard it sometimes is to kind of defend some of these red zone route combinations. 2 or 3, sometimes even 4 curls, and you only got 1 user. Well, I mean, now you can sit on both those curls in the middle of the field and still have a user to take away the crossing route or, you know, the high point to the back corner. Just a completely different meta. I mean, right here you're seeing single back wing flex. I mean, unless you're VY Electrify, not too many people running this formation, but you definitely see some of the more heavy formations in squads. I mean, on the other side, you saw Team Chewy running strong eye tight.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that comes out to me is we talked about strategy and different things. Stick skill is something that's still going to reign supreme. You saw in that play as a running back, fighting the hole and being able to you know, make a move and whatnot. That's really separating a lot of these players because of the amount of times they have to run the ball. You know, being able to get those first downs and be able to, you know, put themselves in positions to get long drives has really helped the success of their team.
So we got 2nd down and 9 here, getting down to the crunch time. Chewy's team only has 1 timeout remaining, so they have to get their stop right here, right now. And you're going to see, of course, going to the motion, running that single back wing flex, running this stretch here. Team Chewy's defense was pretty good as well in this tournament. His team had Slay and verified D&T. D&T, a great weekend league player. And that brings us to our other point. I mean, this was not your salary cap style competitive Madden. This was actually, because you have 3 players, this was like full-on MUT. With these teams.
Yeah, they were able to go into their item binder and grab every one of their best players. There's a strategy of putting your team together. You know, who has better players on this side, who has the better player here, which one wants to be the offensive captain. I mean, there's a lot of things that you have to do to put your team together. And knowing that, it really helps with just your roster management. And you saw that people choose their players based upon that type of variable. So, you know, you see that they did a really good job of assembling these teams.
That's a big coverage sack right there, as that's going to bring up 4th down and 12. And again, maybe one-on-one right here, you might, well, not from this spot on the field, certainly not from this spot on the field. But, you know, if this were on the other side of the 50, you would probably see the 4th and 12 go for it mode for the win right there. But instead, they're going to go ahead and punt it and pin them back 17 yards from their own end zone, needing a field goal for the win.
Yeah, I can only imagine, what they're thinking on Chewy's side of the ball. He's got to get into field goal range, and it's a tough task with three guys out there. So, it'll be interesting to see what they dial up here, just to see what they can get down the field. Obviously, you're trying to work the outside if possible, or you want to go deep in the middle to try to get those chunk yards, just to get themselves an opportunity at a field goal.
So going to come out in the, I believe this is the wing trio halfback weak formation here. And Vic gets all day in the pocket, and this is a huge play right here. Scrambles out to the left, looking, and then he finds the receiver deep. But, oh no, he's going to fumble it, and Team J-Wall, just like that, flips the field. I didn't want to spoil it. This was our moment of the tournament.
It definitely was. I mean, that was an amazing play. I think it was Verified DNT was the one that was at quarterback there. You saw how he scrambled. He was able to get their offensive lineman to pick up that player and find Chewy up the middle. And it was something that I felt that, would have been just the best ending to a squads tournament. And, unfortunately, they got that strip animation and was able to get the ball back. But just those type of, backyard football, find a hole and throw it to that player. Is what really makes squats a lot of fun sometimes. You really have to adapt on the fly.
Man, that sushi was delicious, by the way. And man, I got that like cowlick going on in the back. I forgot my hat on my flight, so people got a rare glimpse into seeing me without a hat right there. But this was an awesome tournament. I can speak for myself that I know I would love to do more of these in the future. What about you, ANCAP?
I absolutely loved it. I thought that it was going to be something that, we did it as a test to see exactly how the community would be involved around it. It came out to be a really exciting, entertaining tournament. And I think there's so many elements with it, even though it's a lower scoring, even though there's more punts, you feel like you're on the edge, that every play matters, that one play can put you into field goal range, one play can put you into the end zone, and, it changes the whole dynamic of the game. And I think whenever you've got that type of pressure situation as you watch the games, it makes for more entertaining football.
I totally agree. I know that the chat was really thrilled with it. They enjoyed it. Of course, they enjoyed the Grubhub as well, our amazing sponsor. I know that they don't pay us to shout them out on YouTube, but I definitely got to give them a shout out. Grubhub has been a phenomenal sponsor that's allowed us to run these Friday night football tournaments, which kind of brings us to the next point. You guys need to make sure that you follow us not only on playbook.gg, but also make sure you guys head over to twitch.tv/MuttHeadTV, where we run these Friday night football tournaments every single Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central. We're going to be getting back this week to solo head-to-head, but I think if the feedback is great, and we'd like to hear you guys post in the chat below, let us know what you think about the squads events. If you'd like to see more of them, let us know, because it's definitely something that we are considering.
Now, if you like this video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and make sure you check out these videos below for the most helpful Madden tips. If you're looking to learn from the best players in the world, head over to www.playbook.gg for the most detailed game plans in Madden.